Thank you for celebrating my 25th anniversary last weekend. I said, if you weren't here, I said, it's more about you than it is about me. And that's because God could use a bush or God could use a donkey. And then I remembered this week that I have proof of my irrelevance, and it's right here. Somebody found one of my sermon tapes at Goodwill for 49 cents. That's proof of irrelevance right there, okay? My words are worth 49 cents. God's word is worth everything. That's the whole point. We've been talking about God because the deal with this is if you have the wrong idea about God, and it's going to affect absolutely everything that you do. I've used this Tozer quote a lot. A.W. Tozer said, what comes into our minds when we think about God is the most important thing about us. It's the most important thing. Everything gets affected. That's why we spent several weeks, 6 weeks, talking about who God is, because we want you to get that because it affects everything. So we talked about God being our Father the first week and how, that kind of encompasses everything. If you understand that God is your Father, then you can really understand who God is. Our Father in heaven, that's how we're supposed to pray. Then we talked about God guiding us and how He is a shepherd. And we talked about last week about God being I am, the great I am, and that means we are I am not, okay? I'm not, I don't have anything to do with running the universe. I am not. That was a good thing for us to remember because God could use a bush or God could use a talking donkey or God could use a Tim Harlow 49-cent sermon. It doesn't matter because it's about Him, all right? So today, God is bigger than the boogeyman. Bill Bright says it this way, the amount of trust you have in God depends on how you view Him. If your God is small, then you can't have a very good faith. And it affects everything that happens. The kids at Catholic school were lined up for lunch, and at one end of the table was a pile of apples, and one of the sisters had put a sign there that said, "Take only one, God is watching." At the other end was a pile of chocolate chip cookies, and some obnoxious little boy wrote a sign that said, "Take all you want, God's watching the apples." I never would have made it through Catholic school. I'm just telling you right now. God bless you, okay? If that's your concept of God, then you're just always trying to outwit Him, right? You're just thinking, He's over here, He can't see what's going on over there, or He's not powerful enough. I want to show you a picture, and I believe this exemplifies exactly what most people think about who God is. Okay? A security guard at a jewelry store, and it's really this old guy that's asleep, but they put this fake sign of a kind of tough guy out in front so that from a distance, if you're looking at it, you're going to think, oh, well, there's a security guard there. Really, there's not. Really, you could go knock over this thing really easily if you wanted to, but the sign is there in front to kind of fake everybody out. And I think a lot of us grow up and we get to this place where we're like, oh, all along I thought God was this bad guy, this really tough guy, this really strong guy that could do whatever He needed to and could take care of the universe. But really, as I grow up, I think He's just this old man who's asleep and not paying any attention. And the problem with that whole concept, again, is this. If you have a small God, you're going to have a small faith, which is going to lead to a small life. If I don't have a big God, then I'm sunk. And the faith question here is this. Would you rather walk across a deep canyon with a big faith in a little log or a little faith in a big one? I'd rather know that the bridge that I'm walking across is big and it's safe. That's what I want. And then I just need a little bit of faith because I believe it. See how that affects everything? Tolstoy said, as soon as I became conscious that there is a power over me, I felt the possibility of living. Big God, big faith, big life. That's the difference. Your faith journey might not be as difficult as you really think it is if you'll understand who you're trying to have faith in. J.B. Phillips said, the trouble with many people today is that they have not found a God big enough for modern needs. We believe that God is that fake security guard back behind the poster of what we thought God was going to be, and He really can't take care of my needs. I mean, what could God do? How can God deal with the 21st century? He can't possibly do this, right? Tim Keller, who's a pastor in New York, that I love, he wrote it this way. He said, the amount of faith is not as important as what we have our faith in. Some people think having a lot of faith will get you further with God and a better reward in heaven or something. said, I don't think that's really true. Think of it like getting on an airplane. Somebody could have a tremendous amount of faith in the pilot and the airplane and have a wonderful flight to their destination. But on the same plane, there could be a passenger with just enough faith to only board the plane. And that passenger probably would have a terrible flight with a lot of anxiety, but they would still end up at the same location. It's about the journey. How's it going to go for you? If you believe that the plane is safe, if you believe that the bridge is strong, if you really believe that, then it affects everything in your life. My oldest daughter was just about 3, and we had her and a little baby at home. I distinctly remember one day as I was leaving for work, my 3-year-old Rachel said, "Call me if you need anything." I don't know where she'd learned that empty sounding phrase. I'm sure it was her mother, but all I could do was laugh. Okay, Rachel, if I have any problems in this great big world, I'll give you a call. You can help me out. Do you see what I'm saying? If I'm in trouble, I don't need a 3-year-old. I need some muscle. I need big.